let's talk food. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, Nigeria spent a whopping 464.5 billion naira in the first 6 months of the year to import food products. Value food imports in the second quarter of 2022 stood at 464.45 billion naira, showing an increase when compared to the value recorded in the first quarter of 2022. That was about 443.36 billion naira. Let's talk to Alexander Nwaokolo now, CEO, Barons and Queens Trading Enterprise Limited. Join us via Zoom. Great to have you on the program.
Yeah, thank you, Vladi.
Yeah, so quite a big number, 464.5 billion naira, and this is coming at a time, when households are squeezed, for incomes. How do you see this data?
It is very alarming, and it also shows Nigeria itself as a country is not yet sufficient enough to feed our citizens, and it has also weakened our foreign exchange reserves too, because if we continue to import at these rates, we won't be able to sustain ourselves as a nation.
And what do you think is responsible for this massive imports we're getting at this time?
Yes, in my own opinion, the major reason is insecurity. Basically, all the raw materials we need for production can be sourced locally in our country, but the insecurity level has made farmers afraid to go to the field, to go to the farm, And I will give you practical examples. There are cases where, some group of people will demand money from farmers, before the planting season. Some group of people too will also demand money during harvest. And even when buyers go to the market to buy in bulk, you will still meet this group of people, demanding money before you can even load. So these are scare farmers away from even farming. Then we can also attribute this to not only insecurity, but also corruption. Yes. Those are just the two major issues. We have insecurity, we have corruption, especially insecurity, especially in the north, where we have bulk of these farm produce that is capable of feeding the nation. Yeah.
And another issue, obviously, is the rising cost of the farm inputs. That we see fertilizer prices, at sky high. It's actually sky high now. Talking about fertilizer prices, what do you think is the solution to this, price issue for farm inputs?
The solution is we should be able to produce. If the environment is conducive enough for farmers, for serious-minded business people, if the insecurity is being dealt with at the roots, not just throwing sentiments around it, but if it is properly dealt with, because the agriculture eco space is sufficient enough to lift people out of poverty. The agricultural eco space is sufficient enough to even create a middle class in rural areas. Not everybody would be looking for white-collar jobs or be going to the city. The agricultural eco space is enough to even make millionaires in the villages, to make millionaires in rural areas, And that's just the way to go. We need to deal with insecurity. We need to deal with corporate bottlenecks. We need to deal with largely insecurity and corruption. So it would also encourage people to see agriculture as a business, not just a way of life, but to see it as a profitable venture and worth investing into.
All right, let's look at these prices now. What other options are available, to farmers with this, rising prices of fertilizers?
Uh, in in my own opinion, the options available are if the government could also intercede, if we could also encourage local production, and even though we have local production of fertilizers, foreign exchange, the FX itself is rising up. So the cost of production is very high, and there is no how it won't also affect the product. It won't also affect fertilizers and other farm implements. Largely we import raw materials and into the country. Not only just that, also makes the prices of goods and commodities also go up, because when you pay high on importation, it will also affect your finished goods. It will also affect your products. And yeah.
All right. Obviously, right now it's time to actually be looking to boost, exports at this time, even though we still need to feed the people we have here. What do you think are the best plans now to get us exporting more?
Yeah. The best plans is to develop our local base. For example, if you look at the products that are being imported into the country, they are products that we can actually produce in Nigeria. For example, if you look at the figures, it's very alarming. Wheat as a grain also is one of the highest, if not three-quarters of what is imported in the country. You understand? I think about this year, 1.67 million metric tons of wheat was also imported into the country. And this is a raw material that we can actually produce in Nigeria. But, the insecurity in the north, especially where these wheat is being grown has affected farmers' ability to go to the farm. You see, there are people with large expanse of land, large hectares of land, but they cannot farm because of the conditions, the insecurity condition, and the terms that has to be met before they farm, and the high cost of farm implements. What the government could do is to tackle insecurity. We have the best policies in terms of agriculture policies, fiscal policies, long-term goals, but a nation that is not secured cannot feed itself. A nation that is not secured cannot even encourage people to produce. And there is a direct link between farming and production. Once farmers cannot farm, then feed producers and agro producers will be forced to import, and it will also increase our import bill too.
Well, like we're already seeing right now with that data. But you're a player, in this agricultural value chain. What other, opportunities or new, trends are coming up, within that value chain right now?
Yes, the new trend is like what we do and what we've been doing in the past is we try to finance farmers. We create a system where we go into business with farmers of host communities. We finance them, we give them farm inputs and other stuff. Then we partner with them in terms. Then we take charge of the products we sell to. Then we also trade in commodities. But you see, the major challenge we have, apart from insecurity, is also logistics. Most of these trucks and everything runs on diesel. Most of moving goods from one point to the other also runs on diesel. So, all these also add to the cost of production at the final stage. So the thing the government can do first is just to tackle insecurity, because it is it is worrisome. You get to some communities and farmers will complain even after you've given them money, after you finance them, they cannot go to the field because they are being attacked, you know. And if they are not attacked, then they would also give you reasons why some people are also demanding money for them to farm. It is very worrisome, and nobody's talking about it. Nobody is really looking into it, because you can't be in a community where you see that it is going to be for the progress and for the benefit of that community, and you are also threatening your brother, your tribal man, to pay you, you understand, before they can even farm, before they can harvest. And it also scares, you know, agro investors in investing in agriculture, because of the insecurity in these regions. And these regions they have the best lands, the best arable lands, they have the best fertile lands for grains, for the cultivation of grains that can even feed the nation, you know. By the time we begin to produce locally, we begin to farm, we begin to develop our own agro ecospace, we begin to feed ourselves, then we can now say we are sufficient enough to export. But for now, we cannot feed ourselves because we are importing raw materials that are supposed to be produced locally, raw materials like wheat, raw materials like sometimes even grains too, because anytime there is shortage, we will have no choice than to resort to imports too. But these can be mitigated if there is security, if there is some level of security, and if security is also tackled, you know, at the root. And this will also encourage farmers to actually farm, encourage farmers to actually work, and it will also have a direct effect on production.
All right, thank you so much. That was Alexander Nwaokolo, the CEO, Barons and Queens Trading Enterprise, giving us his perspective there on solving the food imports issue. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you, Ladi.